Well, good morning, friends. You're tuned into Car Connection, where the coffee's strong, the stories are real, and the wrenches never stop turning. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you from the Car Connection workshop, where the smell of fresh oil and a little elbow grease is all part of a balanced breakfast. That's right. Around here, we don't just talk cars, we live them. Whether it's a 25-year-old Jeep Wrangler getting a second chance at life, a Nissan Rogue getting its brakes back on order, or a mystery leak that's got everyone scratching in their heads, this is where we roll up our sleeves and we get her done. With a little wit, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of fun. The Car Connection Workshop isn't just about nuts, bolts, and diagnostics. It's about connection. Connection to our vehicles and to the people who drive them, and to the community that keeps Niagara rolling. Because when you fix a car, you're not just turning a wrench. You're restoring someone's confidence, freedom, and maybe even their sanity. My hand's up on that one. We're here every week and every weekday morning helping you keep your ride safe, reliable, and ready for the road, whatever lies ahead. So whether you're a weekend wrencher, a daily commuter, or someone who just wants to understand what that strange rattle really means, welcome aboard and stick around for shop talk, expert advice, few good laughs, and maybe a story or two from the garage floor. So welcome, my friends, this morning, the morning drive. And I remember having a lot of morning drives. At one time, the last corporate job I had for a major car manufacturer, I was 90 minutes one way. I was the first one to arrive and the last one to leave on the location I was sent to. And I'll tell you, I had some nasty driving. You betcha. I'll share some of that with you at another time. But right now, let's jump right into the conversation this morning. And we're looking forward to bringing you guests. I want to introduce you to the business owners and people I know. And the best way for me to do that is to connect you with our Car Connection Business Network.com website. That's the long version, but I like things short and sweet. How many of you out there made it through English class because of Cole's Notes? Thank you. I'm nothing shameful about that whatsoever. I never would have passed. Not possible. Well, the short version for our website is CCBUS as in Sam, net.com. And when you get to the homepage, you'll see logos for all the companies that they're like family to me. They've been with me in the last 31 years, broadcasting on the air with our Car Connection live call-in automotive program. And they've been a part of who Car Connection is. So connect on our website and let them know that Motormouth sent you or Car Connection sent you. Again, on our homepage is a lot of information. Top right-hand corner, you'll see a click-on tab for our merch store. So get yourself some Car Connection gear and be part of Car Connection and the Motormouth crew and show it off. You'll also see a icon for YouTube, Facebook, and iHeart for our podcasts. We're on all major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a ton more. So we're glad to have you with us. Well, I promised in one of my most recent podcasts I would follow up and talk about the number one most neglected area on any automobile, period. And during that podcast, I was talking and teaching you about super silicone solicitate, antifreeze. The cooling system is where a lot of failures happen. And unfortunately, when the cooling system goes down, it is a major component that protects the expensive parts, transmissions, and the engine. You bet your bippy. Either one of those goes down or there's catastrophic damage, In a lot of cases, depending on how old and how much mileage is on the vehicle, here's the conversation that would be had in my own waiting room when we had Jenkins Automotive and Repairs on the Hamilton Mountain from about 1991 till 2000, late 2010 was when my body said, hey, Motormouth, no more 18-hour days, bro. And I blew a couple of discs out in my back. I'll share that story for another time, but that's what happened because people say, well, why don't you have the shop? I could hardly walk. In fact, I was almost in a wheelchair, and thank goodness to my chiropractor from Stony Creek area who got me back on my feet, but I had to listen. Do the maintenance. Dr. David said to me, you're going to have to listen and do the maintenance. And that's what I'm saying in this particular podcast. The cooling system, you need to do your maintenance because when you don't, catastrophic failure happens. And when that happens, I usually hear, we don't have the money to fix that. And it's sad because, I wish I could fix everybody's car for free, but I can't. I'm not able to do that. But the purpose of our YouTube channel at Niall Motormouth Jenkins is to build our viewership to the point where we can take care of widows and orphans, single moms, and those who we find they just need to keep their car going a little bit longer, and they've hit hard times. How many of us have been there? So that's the purpose of our YouTube channel. You'll always learn 5 things in the podcast. You'll always learn 5 things from our YouTube channel, and that is what it is, where it is, how it works, how it breaks, and what could I have done differently to avoid that expense. I'm here to help you, not hurt you, but to help save you a few bloody knuckles and a whole lot of money. So let's sit back, get your cup of joe, and listen in. Thank you again for listening. It's okay to have some fun, right? Good, because I need a hot cup of joe myself, and I got one sitting, staring right at me. Do you mind if I have a swiggy? Maybe we can have a swiggy together. Let's do it on 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Keep your eyes on the road if you're driving, though, okay? Oh, that is so good. All the years I drank cold coffee with a skin on top. My customers were fabulous on the Hamilton Mountain, especially around this time of year. The winter season is upon us, and we know where we're heading. They would bring me coffees and hot chocolate and snacks and goodies for myself and the guys in the office. It was absolutely wonderful. Okay, let's dive in. The cooling system on any automobile, it's not complicated. It really isn't. From checking and testing and verifying the condition of the vehicle's antifreeze, that's step 1, but that's not all of it. That is just a minuscule part of what we need to do to make sure that your vehicle's cooling system is in top drawer condition. Not the bottom drawers. That's where the odd socks go in. Underwear that just doesn't fit right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, someday I'll lose 400 pounds and those gotchis will fit. Probably not. That's the bottom drawer. We want to get you in the top drawer condition when it comes to your cooling system. In fact, I'll tell you this. Go into our YouTube channel. We've been working on this little cute 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler Sport that was given to us from a wrecking yard in Niagara-on-the-Lake to bring it back to life. Not restore it, just go through it and fix all the mechanicals. And when we got right down to why did this little Jeep end up in a great big truck, trailer, motor coach, highway coach wrecking yard? How did it get there? What happened to put it there? Well, if you go into our YouTube channel and go all the way back to the beginning, you'll watch all the episodes showing you everything that I fixed was all maintenance. But the number one area that was the most neglected on that little red Jeep TJ Wrangler was the cooling system. That was the death blow. And I can tell you exactly what happened. There were other problems. The brakes were done. It needed brake lines. Emergency cables weren't working. Tires, suspension, steering components, all that's normal wear and tear. But the cooling system is and has to be a mindset of maintenance practices. So what happened to this little cute little Jeep? You're going to get a chance to see this thing come back together and alive. And again, it's not a restoration, it is a rescue. We have rescued it from the crusher, and the frame and everything underneath is good. Got a hole in the floor, but that's because the windshield was leaking. But you'll have to watch all the episodes on how we bring that ugly duckling, turn it back into a white swan, a beautiful swan. So, well, what happened? Well, I'll tell you. The cooling system was overheating. Definitely overheating. Why? There was an internal problem on the engine. What was the internal problem? Head gasket. It was a serious head gasket blow. It's just a little 4-cylinder engine, 2.5 PowerTech engine. That was created by General Motors at the time. It was a collaboration between General Motors and AMC, American Motor Company, and Chrysler. It was all a package deal. But anyways, that's how they came up with the 2.5 PowerTech. Its predecessor was the 4-cylinder, what they called the Iron Horse. This is not the Iron Horse. But anyways, here's what happened. So the head gasket's going. So Buddy, the fella that owned it, he must have been putting antifreeze. He was filling up the cooling system with something because it would have been pushing it out. The hot exhaust gases getting into the cooling system through a blown head gasket is not a good plan. But he pushed it, and he pushed it, and he pushed it to the point where the engine overheated so bad. Well, first of all, the engine overheated so bad that it melted and broke the filler, the upper radiator hose gooseneck, we call it. The plastic piece, the rubber hose goes on. When you open the hood, you see a hose going to the top of the radiator. It was gone. Like there was just a nub left. But what happened just before that is what is and was the little 97 Jeep TJ Wrangler Sport death blow. The head gasket completely failed, filled 2 of the cylinders right up with coolant or water, whatever they'd put in the cooling system. The engine did what we call liquid lock, because you technically cannot compress a liquid, and it blew 2 pistons apart. It blew holes in them, the top of the pistons, and you can see this video. I did a video on cooling system. It's on our YouTube channel. You'll get to see those pistons. I saved them out of the motor, and that did it. That was the end of that TJ, that 97 TJ. Into the boneyard it went. And so I was in there harvesting some parts when I found it amongst all these big riggers that are there getting in the boneyard, getting picked over. I call it Buzzard Row. You go in and harvest. So we were harvesting some parts for a trailer, a hauler that was being turned into a kitchen to do outdoor events. And that's when I found it. And my friend Chris was somewhere else in the wrecking yard. So it was early spring. The ground was muddy where it was parked, and I crawled underneath to check the frame because they rot really, really bad. And it was pretty decent. Like there was no, the frame was solid front to back. And I go on this, well, there's a hole in the floor on the driver's side, but there's water sitting there. That's probably what did it. Passenger side looked good. And I'm going, yeah, we could bring this thing back to life. So long story short, did all the mechanicals, pulled the fuel tank out, got the fuel system fully functional, cleaned and serviced, brakes, brake lines, emergency brake cables, pads and rotors and brake drums and wheel cylinders, etc., etc. Went through the whole thing, then got the engine running, and it's running on 2 cylinders, really, really bad. And that's when I discovered, when I pulled the cylinder head off, there's the answer to the final blow. Engine completely destroyed. So I talked to one of my friends who's in the machining mean shop business in Niagara Falls, and my friend says, Niall, he goes, you got to find a used one. Hunt around, take your time. You're looking at $6,000-$7,000 and upwards to fix that. So why did I tell you all that in the first place? That was all that damage was caused by not maintaining the vehicle's cooling system. It is not maintenance free. There is no maintenance free anything for your vehicle's cooling system. Even if the sales guy sings a song, taps a great dance, and tells you this antifreeze is lifelong antifreeze, that's a lie from the pit of hell and smells like smoke. Not true. If you follow the maintenance pattern of flushing your cooling system every 24 months, you will not experience failures like head gaskets, intake manifold gaskets, because the coolant loses its chemical balance. And when that happens, again, if you listen into the podcast on super silicone solicitate antifreeze, I pull over and park and drill down on all the aspects of antifreeze. I highly recommend you catch that podcast. It's titled, and listen to it. You can also follow up and actually watch a YouTube video where I'm testing antifreeze, and you actually get to see how I do that and all the different types of antifreeze I have on my talk table and I'm testing. So that's available for you as well, which will educate you greatly, because you will hear from some service technicians and from dealerships and service departments, oh no, ma'am, you don't need to change your antifreeze. It's long life antifreeze. No, it's not. Here's the problem. The antifreeze is not monitored by any kind of computer or sensor to tell you when it's defunct, when it's no good. Debris, all kinds of materials from the inside of the engine block, because it's made of iron or aluminum, things corrode inside the motor. So what are we checking for when we're testing the antifreeze? We're checking for freeze point, boil point, acid corrosion level, pH balance, and alkalinity. There's no one on the face of the planet that can tell me that they can verify 100% that that coolant doesn't have any debris in it. There's no filtration system on your cooling system. There isn't. So what happens? Well, that's how radiators get plugged up. The little tubes inside, they get plugged up. A radiator plugs from the bottom up. So if it has a closed system where you have a reservoir that you check the fluid level, that's called a closed system, you can't see the tubes inside the radiator. You can't. If you have what we call an open system, it has a radiator cap right on top of the radiator. So you can take that off and actually see the coolant tubes. But here's the kicker. You can look through there, and the top tubes look really, really clean, and you can go, oh, goody, goody. It looks good. We're good to go, honey. Not true. The tubes that you need to see are the ones at the bottom, because there's rows and rows of little tubes like straws. The coolant comes in from the left and goes out to the right. So the hot coolant comes in from the left, returns through the bottom of the radiator back into the engine, and it gets sucked up by the water pump, right? So you got it cycling through the water pump. That's another component we need to pay attention to. So how do you know when that radiator is plugged up? You don't really. That's where maintenance comes in. The mileage is going to tell me that I need to make a suggestion as a technician. I am a licensed automotive service tech for 44 years. I have my 310T and my 310S. The T is for highway truck, diesels, motor coaches, and equipment. The 310S, as in Sam, is for light truck and passenger vehicles. And I am current. Just so you know, I'm not a has-been tech. I'm still very hands-on. I love what I do, and I love sharing what I know with you for free. Help you out. Because when you understand something more, then your mindset changes. Just because the key goes in or you click the fob or whatever method your car takes to get it running, everything's okay, right? No. There's systems that are not monitored. The cooling system is monitored by the ECM for temperature. So it's watching the engine temperature and will report back if the coolant temperature is out of range. So all engines run at 195 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter what the wind chill is, no matter how strong the wind is against the front of your car. The job of the thermostat, there you go, another component that is not maintenance free. That little valve opens and closes constantly while you're driving to hold the coolant back to get the engine to remain at 195 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's the temperature of what we call normal operating temperature. We'll talk about cooling fans in just a few moments, so hang in there. I'm going to land this thing pretty soon. I'm trying to keep it simple and not complicate it. So we need to know that every 24 months we test and change the antifreeze. Don't fall into this long life, extended life. It's not true. That's what our ears want to hear. That's what our pocketbook wants to hear. But you know what? That's why that little Jeep, the engine blew up. Because that person probably thought, oh, it starts and it goes, we're good. No, there's maintenance required. If your vehicle's cooling system is not in top drawer condition and it's running too cold, you're using more fuel. If it's running too hot, if you have an automatic transmission, you're cooking the transmission oil. So you can have French fries on the side of the road. Yeah. Homer Mateys. That's right. Fresh cut. Right there. You're cooking your automatic transmission all at the same time. Most automatic transmissions start at about $6,000 to $13,000 and up. Yeah. How long do you want to cook that baby? You don't. So if your vehicle's cooling system isn't working right, if it's running too cool, you're burning up too much gas. Computer says, oh, we're not at normal operating temperature. Pour more gas in. The engine's still trying to warm up. You're spending tons of money in lost fuel economy on that one. Number two, if it's running too hot, you're causing engine damage. You're causing automatic transmission damage because you're overheating. You're not overheating to where you're on the side of the road and the steam's coming out of the grill. No, but you're getting there. You're going to get there. Because here's the problem. The thermostat has to keep the cooling system at 195 degrees no matter what. The cooling fans, when you get into traffic, they're there to save you from going into an overheat situation if that's the problem is airflow. You're stuck in traffic. The engine is getting hot. The cooling fans come on. Okay, so I told you, normal engine operating temperature, the cooling system, and the engine's 195 degrees Fahrenheit. The cooling fans don't come on until 212 to 225 Fahrenheit. Keep in mind, water boils at that temperature. Check it out next time in the kitchen with a thermometer. Between 212 Fahrenheit and 225 Fahrenheit, water boils. So that's why boiling point is very important when we're mixing antifreeze to go into your car. We need to make sure the boiling point is exactly where it needs to be, because if those fans don't come on between 212 Fahrenheit and 225, guess what, ladies? You're going to be calling somebody because you're overheating. And it doesn't take long. It takes just a couple of minutes, and the vehicle is in a super overheat situation. That's when catastrophic mechanical failure happens. That's when that little red Jeep 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler met its roadside death instantly. It went into a superheat situation. Then the coolant went into the cylinders on the engine because the gasket completely failed. Bam. Engine exploded. Done. Game over. So I'm going to list all the areas that every 24 months need attention. Coolant, flush and fill every 24 months. Thermostat, replace it, even though it's working. They don't let you know when they're going to close and slam and overheat the engine. The thermostat in the computer does not let you know when the thermostat is stuck wide open. Happened to my neighbor down the road on a 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK. It was starting to overheat. She was paying attention to the gauge. She noticed the gauge was much higher than normal. Needed a thermostat. Just over 100,000 kilometers. 3.6 liter Pentastar was the engine. So avoid the overheat situation. Do not wait till the car overheats. That's when catastrophic damage is going to put that car in the wrecking yard. You're cooking your automatic transmission oil, which is damaging your automatic transmission, clutches and bands and servos. There's more electronics today in an automatic transmission than what powers up the space shuttle. And I'm not exaggerating that. That is fact. So, radiator. My recommendation, you want to keep your car long term. I've got a vehicle in the driveway heading for 400,000 kilometers. It's on its second radiator. I change it out every 150 to 200. In fact, this year, I will be swapping it out and putting a brand new one in. Done. If you, on Chryslers, here's what a Chrysler engineer told me. You want to keep your minivan going, your Chrysler going for a long time, every 100,000 kilometers, put a brand new radiator in it. That was from a Chrysler engineer. He said, don't even hesitate. 100,000 K, change the radiator every single time on your Chrysler. What a great piece of information, friends. Huge. That is absolutely huge to know that. Thermostat, get it out of there every 100K. Done. Don't wait till it overheats the motor or you're using additional fuel because the cooling system's running a little bit too cool. Number 3, water pump. 100,000 K, if you want to avoid being on the side of the road, I would say push it no further than 150,000 kilometers, change out the water pump. Ford's got some problems with one of their F-150s. I saw an email come through on Facebook. The cost to change a water pump was like $5,200 because the water pump's inside the motor. That's bizarre. We saw that back in the early 90s with when they were running Pontiac Grand Ams with a Quad 4. The water pump was inside the engine. It was bizarre. The most stupidest thing I've ever seen. So when the water pump fails, fills up your oil pan with coolant. Bad idea. So water pump, 100 to 150K, get it out of there. Don't wait for it to fail. Get it out of there. If your antifreeze is determined to be acid, the pH balance acid and corrosion levels off the chart, change the water pump. Chances are the little metal impeller that creates the flow is rotting off. I've seen that a million times. Where else we go? Belts and hoses, they're good for 4 years. Get them out. Yeah, Actually, some articles I've read from Gates Canada, which is one of the companies I really enjoy getting those parts from for all these years. They're one of my favorites. They used to put out a newsletter, was fabulous. Great nuggets in there. Every 2 years, belts and hoses, but I think you could go more. But again, your technician needs to really check them. Really, really, really check them, because hoses rot from the inside, not the outside. If there's damage on the outside of hose because something's touched it and rubbed on it, change it. Also, the belts. We need to check them on a regular basis because there's serpentine drive belt. They drive everything. One belt on many vehicles drives everything. Power steering, air conditioning, and the water pump and alternator. That belt breaks. It's about 16 feet long, and it causes a ton of damage under the hood. I've seen thousands of dollars of damage because it snaps, and it's like a whip in there under the hood. Anything plastic gets completely destroyed. So these are the things we need to pay attention to that will save us money, not cost us money in the end. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Thank you to our program sponsors and our show sponsors that are at CarConnectionBusinessNetwork.com, Rainbow Motors, City Auto Sales and Leasing, Tony Miele, Larry Tetro with IG Wealth Management, certified financial planners, 50 years experience, two of the best in all of Canada. We also have Niagara Block, 5,000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, building Niagara and building Canada since 1931. And to Crystal Ridge Dream Center, changing the lives of children, single moms, elderly in the Niagara region, serving them with encouragement, with love, and also making sure that they feed them. There's lots of programs going on there, so they're all available to you and more at CarConnectionBusinessNetwork.com. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and ring the notification bell on our YouTube channel, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and also sign up for our iHeart podcasts. Go into any platform, in the search bar, type in Car Connection Workshop. You'll also find us at Stevensville on the web.ca. Click on the businesses tab, and you'll find us there. You can email me there and find great local businesses you can connect with. Am I forgetting anything? Car Connection merch, get some from our website store and show it off. Send us a selfie and give us permission to use it, and we'll plug you in somewhere on everything that we do. So till next time, have fun. Keep it under 100. Put that coffee on. We're going to come to your house.